So welcome to my channel where I don't know how to explain anything, but hopefully you guys get it. I think I'm gonna start with lips today. So this is the Sugar Rush lip balm that I received in BOXYCHARM, I believe sometime this year. I have used it a couple of times. I just have so many different lip balms in my collection that I kind of just rotate through them. But I want to start with my lips moisturized. So I'm gonna pop a little bit of this on. Normally I would wear the Laneige, but since we're using products from BOXYCHARM and I do enjoy this product, just gonna put it on my lips. But it's just really comfortable, just like your typical lip balm. And that's that. So I already primed my face, set my lids, did my brows, just to kind of get that stuff out of the way. The brow products I've received throughout the years, I no longer have. I just basically just have my staple products, which is the Give Me Brow from Benefit and the ABH Dip Brow. Now let's just go ahead and jump into eyeshadow. So we're going to start with the eyes today. And this is the palette that we're going to be using. This is the Queen by Eloise. So a queen lies in all of us, which I think that's so pretty. The packaging on this palette is everything. And the colors are so gorgeous. But I don't think I'm going to play too much with any color. Just more so like the browns and maybe like these darker burgundy shades down here. But nothing too colorful like pinks or blues or anything like that. But this palette is very, very beautiful. So let's go ahead and start with Sheba, which is this shade right here. This one. And I'm just going to take a fluffy brush. This is the M573. Dip my brush into there. And then just kind of brush this on the outer corner as well as my crease. And right off the bat, you definitely get a good amount of pigment. So I just wanted a nice light layer of color. Kind of wanted to see what that color was going to look like, but now I'm going to take a little bit of Kingdom, which is right next to it. It's actually a little bit darker. And I'm going to use an M506, and I'm going to actually use this shade to kind of map out the crease area. So I'm really going to pack this on but blend it out at the same time and just take my time with this, because this is really going to shape the overall eyeshadow look. So as you can see, I'm basically going for like that round half moon shape of a look. I'm not really winging anything out. At least I don't think so. But now I'm going to take that first brush we were using, which is the M573, and I'm just going to lightly blend like the outer parts of that shadow and just kind of bring it up a little bit past the crease, but still making sure I'm blending out the shadow entirely, if that makes sense. So now taking a brush that's a little bit more fluffier than the M506. This one actually does not have a name. It's just a Morphe brush. That's all it says. I'm going to take Honorable, which is this burgundy shade right here, which is lighter than the one next to it. I want to use both of these, but I'm going to use this one first. So I'm going to tap into that, and I'm going to start by just placing it on the outer corner first and just blending inwards. And I'm going to take it up into the crease, well, kind of into the crease a little bit, but not above the previous shadows that we used. So just using packing motions and then windshield wiper motions and circular motions. So all the motions. And we're just going to pack the shadow on. As I'm placing it though, it looks kind of pink to me, not so much red. It definitely pulls a lot more pink than it does seem to be in the pan. It's not like a true like red burgundy shade. It's definitely more like a pinky shade. And since that's the case, I'm gonna try to use less product. Now I'm taking Amina, which is that darker burgundy shadow. Hopefully this pulls more burgundy than the last, but I'm gonna pack it in that same outer corner area. I'm really trying to get away from the pinkish purple vibe, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So I was definitely not trying to go pinkish purple, but that's what we have. So we're gonna work with it. I have an idea. First, I'm gonna take that same brush we were using in the beginning, and I'm just going to further blend everything out, especially the edges, and just make sure everything is nice and blended. It would have been nice if I had a shadow that was a little lighter than Shiva, which is the shadow that we use to start with, just to help further blend everything out. I mean, I could dip back into the pan, into Shiva again, and just kind of further help blend this out, but I guess I would prefer a lighter shade than that. So just gotta be really careful and just help blend all this out. So with a little bit of concealer, as I always do, I'm going to just cut the crease. And I don't know if I'm gonna take it halfway or if I'm gonna take it all the way, but either way, we're gonna cut it and add some more shadow. So to do that, I'm using the NARS Soft Matte Concealer in Biscuit, which you guys know I love to use on my lids. It's my go-to, it's my everything. I mean, what's new here? So now that my crease has been cut, I am now going to take Amina again, just a little bit, and I'm going to flick it right where the concealer ends and the outer corner meets, just to, you know, make it a seamless blend for when we put our shimmer shadow down. Not too much though, just very, very little, kind of like that. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Regal, which is the purple. So now we're going into the purple shade. Same brush, and I'm going to lightly dust that on the outer corner. Now for the shimmers, there are a lot of interesting shimmers in this palette that I find very, very beautiful. I think there are 3 that we're going to use, 2 for the lid, 1 for the inner corner. First, I'm going to take Monarch, which is this one down here, which seems to match these shadows up here that we used in our crease. And I'm just going to take that on a small flat brush, and I'm going to place that closest to the purple. Putting this one on first and on the further end of the eye, just because it's the darkest shimmer that I'm using, so I want it to go light to dark. And I'm just gonna place that here. Now I want to take Powerful, which is a very, very pretty shimmer shade, which is this one right here, and it's kind of like a cross mixture between purple and blue, and it also kind of goes with this like brush, but that's beside the point. So we're going to take this shadow and we're actually going to place this in the front, so right next to that other shadow that we used. And my idea was to go from lightest to darkest, but I'm actually thinking that this is a little bit darker than the shimmer that we use in the center, but that's fine. Not really sure I'm loving that. Might have to use that a different day for a different look. So I'm gonna go on top of it with Jewels, which is like this gold shadow here. I was trying to do something different, but I don't think that's working out for me. So I'm just going directly on top of it. And it seems to be covering the shadow pretty nicely, so that's a plus in my book. Alright you guys, so this eyeshadow look is not what I thought it was going to be by any means, but it does look pretty good in my opinion. You guys can let me know what you guys think down below. But I think that palette has a lot of different variations to kind of work with. You can do pretty much anything. The options are endless, but I'm gonna go ahead and wipe underneath my eyes all the fallout, because I did have a little bit of fallout. So if you guys don't like that, then you probably wouldn't like this palette, but it does not bother me, especially since I'm doing the eyes first. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up. I'm gonna apply my mascara and my lashes, and then we can come back and start on the base makeup, which I'm sure you guys are going to love and I'm gonna have lots of fun with. So now that the lashes have been applied, we can move on to foundation. Now, when I was prepping and planning for this video, I knew off bat I wanted to use the Kosas tinted facial oil, and hopefully that's how you say the name of this brand. But again, this is a tinted facial oil, not like a BB cream or anything like that. Now, their theory behind this is that it's supposed to be makeup and skincare in one. So I was definitely intrigued by that, and I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you guys. If you've seen any of my previous videos or you've been with me for a while, you know I was doing BOXYCHARM unboxings here on my channel. Then I decided that I wasn't gonna do that anymore and I was gonna implement it on the gram. But let's be real, I have not done that. I've done one reels of BOXYCHARM unboxing. Outside of that, I haven't done anything. So I decided that I did want to, you know, show these products on my platform, because we have been receiving some really good ones. And this one in specific, I definitely wanted to try out with you guys, and I did test it out because I was gonna do it on Instagram, but here we are on YouTube. So I am gonna use this today, but I am gonna mix it with the Maybelline Superstay Foundation, and that's because I know for a fact this is too light for me, which you guys will see. I will show you guys that. Now, first and foremost, you want to shake it, because if you don't shake the product and you just, you know, automatically just pour it out on your face, it's gonna just be a whole bunch of oil, and you don't want that. So this one is in the shade number 5, which is I really don't know what that shade like name is, but it's number 5. And as I'm about to show you, it's very oily, very runny, but also a little too light for me. So I'm gonna apply this first, give you guys a feel of, you know, the product and what it looks like on its own. But I'm also gonna add in, again, a little bit of the Maybelline Superstay. So for this specific like foundation or tinted oil, I am gonna use a brush. I don't know. I think a brush is best for this. Granted, I've never tried a sponge. Oh, this is going into my brow. Let me get that. But I think a brush is best. And, you know, it does have color to it. Hence why I'm gonna be using a little bit of foundation. And I probably put a little too much of the facial oil on, to be honest. I'm not even gonna lie. A little bit definitely goes a long way. It's not meant to be full coverage by no means. So that's not, you know, something you should expect with this product. I didn't find that it made my face like super oily after using it the first time. But now that I've used like a ton of product, I am kind of concerned that it will get oily throughout the day, but we will just have to see. All right, so if you're like me, don't go overboard and use a ton of that product. One thing I will say, I'm now gonna go in with the foundation just so you guys are aware, but I do wanna say that if it were my skin tone color, if it were an exact match for me, it'd definitely be the perfect lightweight like type of facial oil slash, you know, foundation just to apply onto my skin and just even everything out. It's truly lightweight. Like, you don't even feel it on your face. That's how lightweight it is. But again, I have to go over this with a little bit of foundation just to even everything out and for me not to look like a ghost, because I definitely was looking ghostly. And this will just be perfect for like that everyday makeup wearer who just wants something lightweight and more natural. Definitely would be perfect for that. And yeah, I mean, even though like I have texture on my skin and all of that, I still like that natural kind of everyday look. It's just what I've been into, regardless of, you know, how my skin's doing and healing and all of that. But if you're not into that, then obviously you wouldn't be into this foundation. So I like it, and I think it is really, really nice just to throw on. I mean, it might be extra the fact that I am mixing in a little bit of foundation, but it also gives it that little bit of extra coverage as well. And I don't mind that personally, but you know, everybody's preference is different and everybody's not gonna want the same thing. So that's just that on that. So I'm going to just wipe off the excess foundation on my hand. I literally used like less than a pump because I only pumped it once on my hand, and whatever was on my sponge I spread across my face evenly, and then the rest I just wiped off. Now let's jump into concealer. So we did receive the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue concealer, which I have been loving a ton of. So I am going to use this underneath my eyes, in my T-zone and all of that. But I'm also going to go in with a little bit of the e.l.f. Camo, yeah, their regular camo concealer. And I'm just going to apply a small amount of that on top of this Dose of Colors concealer underneath my eyes, just for a little bit better of a brightening effect, just because this concealer shade specifically, which is 20 medium tan, is pretty much the same as like the foundation, so it's not really doing anything as far as brightening. So adding a little bit of the e.l.f. concealer on top will just help to better give our under eyes a brighter look. We definitely have more of like a full coverage look going on. This is definitely going to be a full beat. So I am going to use a little bit of the Milani Perfect and Conceal concealer just to add a little bit of contour to my face. I've actually been liking this a lot more than the Tantour in the shade Light, I believe I have. Whatever the shade is that I originally have, I like this one a lot better. It just creates more definition in a way. And so I'm just going to quickly apply this before we move on to setting our face. So now that the cream contour is all blended out, I'm gonna move into setting the face with a little bit of powder. We have received powder in the box previously, or since I've had the subscription. If I did not mention already, for my new subscribers, I was, or still am, subscribed to the BOXYCHARM subscription. I pay with my own money, so it's not sponsored or anything like that. Now, when it comes to the setting powder, I don't know if I really want to use what we have received. So this is the Becca hydra-mist set and refresh powder, and again, I've used it when I did receive it back in the day, whenever that was, but I don't know, it's not a powder that I have reached for. I haven't used this in so long, so I really don't know what to expect. I think I'll go ahead and, you know, give it a go on one side, see how I feel about it. And if anything, I will just use the Laura Mercier translucent powder to set. So let's just take this lightly. From what I can remember, it was like a cooling sensation. Now that I'm applying it, I do remember a blurring effect, and I kind of feel like I did that, especially with that, you know, little friend of mine over here that just decided to pop up this morning. I think I actually like it. I haven't used this powder in so long, but I do like it a lot. You guys see, this side is unset and this side is set, and it really does something to the face. So actually, I'm gonna use this powder. So let's grab a little bit more. I don't feel that cooling effect that I thought was gonna be there before it did. Or at least from what I can remember, it did have a cooling effect, but I'm not getting that this time around. I definitely need to pull that powder out more often. So I'm gonna use a little bit of this. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Smooth Operator Tinted Pressed Powder. And this one is in medium. And I'm just gonna use this just to you know, kind of set over top everything for the perimeter of my face. This is like the same thing as if I were to use the Charlotte Tilbury powder. I think I have a CoverGirl one that I've used before, and there is another one that I'm forgetting. It's from Sephora, the Micro Smooth powder. So all of these powders pretty much do the same exact thing. So that's it for that. And now we are going to bronze our skin a little bit. So when I first planned out this video, I was gonna use the Pretty Vulgar bronzer because once I got that one, I was really obsessed with it for some time. It is a little bit light as far as bronzing goes, but it's still a very nice bronzer. But I figured I'd pull out the Ace Beauty palette that I received recently. This is more recent, and I'm just gonna take a mixture of these two first, and if I need to deepen it a little bit, I'll add a little bit of this one right here. These unfortunately do not have like individual names, but again, this palette is the Ace Beauty Bronzed in Paradise palette, and I just love anything from Ace Beauty. Is always seem to be like a win in the box. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this and bronze up the skin. All right, so I've gone ahead and applied bottom lash mascara as well as, you know, smoking out the under eye with shadow just to keep things rolling. So those are pretty self-explanatory. Honestly, all I did was take the same shades from the top, moved them down to the bottom. Now I did keep the purple shade further on the outer, you know, lower corner as I could. I don't know if it looks that way or not. And then in the inner corner part of the eye, I did use the pinks since this look was already leaning pink anyways. I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna add it. So I used Elizabeth and Empress on the inner part of the lower lash line, and then in the inner corner just a little bit of Elizabeth since it is the brighter pink of the two. And I like the eyes, honestly, so I think I'm just gonna leave it that way. Now let's roll into blush and highlight. Those are the final two products for today's look. I have two blush palettes here because I originally pulled out this one from Natasha Denona. This is more of like a neutral blush, and then they have this one right here which brings a little bit of shimmer to the look. And then since this was a lot more pink than I anticipated, I pulled out the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush as well in Dim Infusion. Both of these I have received in my BOXYCHARM boxes throughout. So I think what I'm gonna do, since I have been so obsessed with blush and I love it that much, I'm actually gonna use both. So I'm gonna go into Natasha Denona first and just take a small amount of that and just add that here. Again, this is more of like a neutral blush, so you're not going to really be able to tell too much with this one. I mean, you can tell you have blush, but it's more of like that natural kind of look. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know how to explain it. I'm so terrible with explanations. So welcome to my channel where I don't know how to explain anything, but hopefully you guys get it. So I'm just gonna apply a small amount, like I said, and that's about good. Put that down. Now I'm gonna take the Hourglass. Again, this is the Ambient Lighting Blush in Dim Infusion, which is like pink with shimmer. It's so beautiful. I am going to use that same blush brush. This is actually the Almar Cosmetics brush, which we have received as well. Wow, look at that. That wasn't even planned, honestly. I just grabbed the blush brush. I do like this, you know, brush. To be honest, I use it a lot. So I'm just going to pop this on. It seems like I'm being aggressive. That's just because I'm talking while I'm doing this, but it looks pretty. So that's the blush. And then finally for highlight, I did not pull out a highlight that I've received in BOXYCHARM because from what I can remember, the only highlight we have received is like loose highlight, and I really didn't want to use that. I'm not into like a strong highlight right now, so I just pulled out this one from Fenty Beauty, which is two of her highlighters. One is Mo Money and the other one is Afternoon Snack. So I'm just gonna probably just stick to this one right here called Afternoon Snack and just use a little bit of that on, you know, the areas of my face where I typically highlight. And before we close out today's video, I almost forgot, but we have to set our makeup down, especially because we used a lot of products. So we definitely want to make sure we do that. Now I have here the Smashbox Photo Finish Weightless Setting Spray, and this I did receive in BOXYCHARM some time ago as well. I don't really use it too often on my channel, if ever. I probably used it once, and that's just because I was so obsessed with the ColourPop, and that was like my go-to. I just kind of pushed this to the back of the drawer, but we're gonna go ahead and give ourselves a nice spritz with this today and set our makeup down. All right, beauties, so this here is the finished and final look. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. I will say personally, this is not what I was going for, nor was it the goal, but I'm happy that we're here. Everything looks amazing to me, and honestly, I was quite blown away by a couple of these items. Now, I do want to kind of give a review and give you an update on how I'm feeling about certain things, but I want you guys to know that overall, I don't think there is any product from BOXYCHARM that I use today that I do not love. Whether I went into this video mentally knowing that, or just, you know, knowing that at the end of the day, there is nothing that I use that I do not like. Now, the first product I do want to kind of talk a little bit more about is this one from Kosas. This is, again, the tinted face oil that we used. As you guys seen, it was a little bit too light for me. I kind of look like a ghost, but mixing in the foundation wasn't a problem. I think it's perfect for the everyday consumer who just wants something to put on their face that's gonna look natural, not be too heavy, and kind of get that no makeup look. And considering it's like skincare and makeup together, that's probably something that will intrigue a lot of people as well. Being someone who does have oily combination skin, I don't find a problem or see a problem using that product, given that it's a facial oil. It's still very lightweight. It doesn't make my skin more oily than it already is, and I just personally do not see a problem with that. Again, I have used this product before and have had it on my face for a couple of hours, and to me, it's no more than the traditional oiliness that I, you know, sometimes often get with certain foundations. So there's that on that. But moving on, I do want to also touch base on this right here from Becca, the powder. This is the hydra-mist Set and Refresh powder that blew me away. Honestly, this has been sitting in my drawer for forever. I probably only used it that one time on my channel, maybe more than once, but definitely not a product that I've repeatedly, you know, like pulled out to use. Now, that powder worked amazing for me. Honestly, I was shocked because I was scared going into this video using that product. I didn't know if I really wanted to use it because I was just afraid it wasn't going to perform well. And that's crazy to think, considering my initial review of the product was that I did like the formula and how it set everything down, but I couldn't really remember. So that's what caused me to like, not really sure, but I'm glad and happy that I gave that a try because it worked out very beautifully. As you guys seen for yourselves, it blurred the skin, it set the makeup down very nicely. Now, I did recall like it having this cooling sensation when applying it underneath the eye, but I didn't feel that this time, so I don't really know why that is. But again, that is a powder that just worked amazing for me today, and it's something that I will have to put in the front of my makeup drawer so that I can be sure to pull it out more often. And the last two products, the first one being the eyeshadow palette. First and foremost, I like the concept of it, and it's, you know, it's definitely very eye-catching, and I like the fact that it says a queen lies in all of us. Facts, okay? And then the color story is amazing. You guys can do so many different things with this palette. It's like endless. Honestly, you can use this for what I can see from looking at it for any time of the year. Although we came out with a little bit more of like a festival type of eyeshadow look, it's fine with me personally because it gives me a break from the fall looks. but this palette is phenomenal. The colors are blendable, the pigmentation is there, and the shimmers even perform very, very nicely. So this is a palette I would definitely recommend as well, and I just enjoyed playing with it, and I don't think it's going to be my last time using this on my channel. And for the final product, the Smashbox setting spray that we used. Now again, I have not pulled for this very often just because I was so obsessed with the color pop. It does not compare to that in my personal opinion, but it is a nice setting spray. It set everything down very nicely. As far as longevity and it making the makeup last, I can't attest to that, but we shall see in the future. The only con with that is the sprayer on it. It's not as consistent as I would like it to be, but it's not terrible. Now that we have all of that out the way, I am going to close out today's video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it once again. And, you know, I have nothing else to say other than I love you guys. And I will see you guys in my next upload, which is on Friday. So, see you guys then.